You've heard it a million times, right? Your thoughts shape your reality. It's this timeless idea, something we're always told is the key to a good life. But today, we're going to pull it off the self-help shelf and slide it right under the microscope. I mean, this isn't a new concept. Thinkers way back, like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, they just got this intuitively. But what's so cool is that modern science is finally catching up, and it's validating this ancient wisdom with actual hard data, showing us just how deep the connection between our mind and our body really is. So that's the big question we're tackling here. Is there real, measurable, scientific proof behind the power of positive thinking, or is it all just, a nice idea? Let's find out. Okay, let's dive right in. Now, to even get to the science, we first have to be super clear about what we actually mean by positive thinking. Because it's not just about, forcing a smile and hoping everything works out. The term researchers use is dispositional optimism. And what's really important here is that this isn't about ignoring problems. Not at all. It's more of a fundamental belief that, on the whole, things are probably going to work out. So picture this. Two people both lose their jobs. The person with a pessimistic view might think, that's it, I'll never find another job. But the dispositional optimist, while they're still going to be disappointed, is way more likely to think, okay, this is a setback, but I know I've got what it takes to find a new opportunity. See? It's a stable outlook, not just a fleeting good mood. And this chart breaks it down perfectly. This comes from the pioneer of positive psychology, Martin Seligman, and his whole idea of learned optimism. So look at that first row. When a pessimist hits a roadblock, they tend to internalize it. It's my fault. But an optimist, they're more likely to see the external factors. Wow, those were some tough circumstances. A pessimist sees that failure as permanent and something that affects everything. An optimist sees it as temporary and specific to that one situation. And that small shift in perspective, well, it changes absolutely everything. So if you can actually build that optimistic mindset, what's the payoff? What do you get for it? Well, this is where the evidence gets really, really compelling. Let's look at how this dividend stacks up, starting with what's going on in our heads. The psychological benefits are just massive. Studies show that optimists have lower levels of cortisol. That's the body's main stress hormone. They don't just dodge stress, they actually handle it better. They use what are called adaptive strategies, like focusing on solving the problem instead of just denying it exists. Over time, this builds up your psychological resilience, which is basically your superpower for bouncing back from anything life throws at you. And this is where things get kind of mind-blowing. The link between our thoughts and our actual physical bodies is so much more direct than most of us think. The physical health dividend is, well, it's absolutely staggering. Let's start with your heart. One major study found that optimistic people had a 35% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Just let that sink in for a second. Your outlook on life could be just as important for your heart as your diet and how much you exercise. And it doesn't just improve the quality of your life, it can literally make it longer. A 2019 study found that the most optimistic people lived up to 15% longer and were way more likely to live past the age of 85. Now, here's the key. This isn't magic. It's the ripple effect of managing stress better and making healthier choices, which, as it turns out, optimists just tend to do. Now, it's really easy to hear all of this and think, okay, great, I'll just force myself to be happy all the time. But hold on. We have to pump the brakes here and talk about a very real, very crucial danger in this whole conversation. It's something called toxic positivity. And this is what happens when we use the idea of positivity as a shield or even as a weapon to shut down what we're genuinely feeling. It's a kind of emotional avoidance, and honestly, it can be incredibly damaging. And you've seen this everywhere, right? In phrases like, good vibes only, or everything happens for a reason. Now, they might be well-intentioned, but they can feel so dismissive. When someone is really hurting, telling them to just think happy thoughts totally invalidates what they're going through. It teaches us to bury our pain instead of actually processing it, which is the only way we can truly heal. I just love this quote from psychologist Dr. Susan David because it gets right to the point. A full, rich, meaningful life has to include the whole spectrum of human emotions. Sadness, anger, fear, all of it. Real well-being isn't about getting rid of discomfort. It's about learning how to move through it. So, here's the billion-dollar question. How do we build that powerful, life-extending optimism without stumbling into the toxic positivity trap? Well, the good news is there's a practical, balanced toolkit we can use. Okay, first up, mindful awareness. This is just about noticing your thoughts as they pop up, without immediately labeling them as good or bad. Just observe. Second, reframe negative events. Now, this is not about pretending something bad didn't happen. It's about asking, okay, what can I learn from this? Third, practice gratitude. This is an active choice to shift your focus from what's missing to what you have. And because of neuroplasticity, doing this literally rewires your brain to find the positive more easily. And most important of all, allow space for all your emotions. Acknowledge the sadness or the anger, let it be there. Validate it first, and only then, gently, guide your focus back toward a hopeful path. So let's bring all of this together. After this deep dive into the science of our minds, what's the real takeaway here? Well, it all comes down to understanding what optimism truly is. Let's be perfectly clear on this. Real, healthy optimism is not a tool for escaping reality. It's not a blindfold you put on to ignore all the hard stuff. It is a tool, a powerful, scientifically proven tool for transforming your challenges into your greatest opportunities for growth. I want to leave you with this incredible thought from Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust and found meaning in the most unimaginable of circumstances. The greatest power we have isn't in controlling what happens to us, it's in how we choose to respond. And that choice, the choice to change ourselves, to choose our perspective, that is where our true strength really is.